Oh yes, it's Nick Shell, the manly vegan, in high die, or what? Not high die. What is it called? HD, high definition. I was trying to be cool and it didn't work. You know me. I usually use my phone to make these videos at work. Well, now I'm at home Friday night. Everybody's asleep except for me, and I've got my really nice Canon camera that I'm using. And I already had it out for another reason that's going to be a secret for the next year. But while I had the camera out, let's make some good use of all the beautiful colors and the nice staging here. Let's talk about alternatives to dairy milk. Let's talk about why. Obviously, you can see here that I've got this. I'm going to present this, but before we talk about what I actually drink instead of dairy milk, ask the question why. Why don't I drink dairy? Well, you know, for over 20 years, I had constant sinus problems. It was congested like all the time, air pressure all the time. Even if I blew my nose, nothing would come out. It was just sinus pressure. And I was allergic to animals too, which was, those things went away after me cutting out dairy. Plus I did have eczema, and that also went away with this transition of getting rid of dairy. So, you know, everyone's got their own reason, their own problems that it may affect. You may be a person that dairy doesn't affect you at all in any negative way. My wife is one of those people. But as for me, I'm the complete opposite. And a lot of people suffer from dairy issues, but they don't realize it. So, you know, here we are, that alternatives are becoming so popular for dairy. Before I demonstrate and show you what I want to show you, man to man, because I know that most of you are men watching this, most of my subscribers are men. I've got a few females and I appreciate you, but whoever you are, I don't mean to be, you know me, I'm a clean cut guy. I never use profanity or anything like that, but I think I do need to say some things. If I'm going to do this video right, I got to be honest with you at the risk of sounding like I'm trying to be gross when I'm not. I'm just trying to be honest and serious and direct with you, as I always try to be. So let's just process it. Forget about the taboo. Let's just talk about the concept of what dairy is, okay? Because the way I see it is that dairy is basically a form of mucus that comes from a mother cow, basically. And here's where I come up with that. Because when I stopped drinking dairy, I stopped producing mucus, like an abundance of mucus. And my mucus is never colored. It's only just white. And whereas before it would have a yellowish tint, and it was just all the time. And the weekend I stopped drinking dairy, it just like all drained, and it hasn't been that way since. That's been, what, is it 3.5 years now? Right? Yeah. So when you consider the glands that milk comes from, the endocrine glands, is that how you say it? Google that. Pause this and Google that. So basically, my understanding is it's the same glands that make fluids for other things. Some things that have to do with reproduction, for example, and that sort of thing. So Google, is there mucus in milk? Google that. See if you can find an honest answer out of that. But either way, what I do know is, I know, and even my kid's doctor confirmed this, because when I asked about the formula, my child's doctor even confirmed that dairy from a cow does produce more mucus. Not in all kids, but in many it does. That's why there's soy formula now, for example, and even goat milk that I guess has less of it somehow, whatever. So just imagine that. I mean, imagine the thought of consuming the mucus of another animal. Like that is already gross. And I think I always had a problem with milk anyway. I never liked the way it tastes. If it was in stuff, I was cool. Like milkshakes, yeah. But I never was the kid like, I want a tall glass of milk. Like I never liked the taste of it. So, all right, let's talk about this, because I know you're like, okay, well that's silly. Almond milk, how can you get milk from almonds? But at the same time, consider what actual milk is, you know? It's like mucusy water from the, you know, part of a cow. How perverted was the first guy who did that? I mean, I know it's socially accepted now, but consider, at one point in history, a man walked up to a cow, went up to the udder, and said, I want some of that. And then he convinced a whole village that it was cool, and everybody started doing it, and thousands of years have passed since then. All right, well now here we are in almost 2017, and this is common. I mean, I'm not like advertising a certain brand right now. I went into our fridge and this is what we have. But I want to talk about basically kind of the staples of what we do here. While we're not loyal to a brand, and you can get this stuff anywhere, Walmart, Target, Publix, Kroger, wherever you go shopping, almond milk is there, and it's not expensive. But what we do is we go with almond milk, and I always get unsweetened. I'm trying to keep as much sugar out as I can of our families here, unsweetened, and I do an original. My wife can make even mashed potatoes with this. Like it doesn't really have a taste. It's just you can use it as a good base. So it's good to have some unsweetened original almond milk, and then also it's always good to also have some unsweetened vanilla. That's a good combination because you get that fun flavor without it actually being sweetened. So for like my smoothies, for example, that I have every day, I use this as the base. It adds a better flavor, a creamier flavor to it. You'd say, well, Nick, what about other alternatives? Like what about cashew milk? I'm all for cashew milk. I love it. The only problem I have right now with cashew milk is that's not quite mainstream enough for you to be able to get it in these variations like unsweetened and vanilla. Like that's not as easy to find in cashew as it is almond, and it seems that cashew might be a little bit more expensive than almond, and even when you do find it cheaper, then it's like it's mixed with almonds too. So this is the most practical. I'm trying to think of other options. I mean, there is soy milk. Problem I have with soy milk, it does add estrogen to your body from what I understand. And as a man, I don't need estrogen. I'm not interested in extra estrogen if I don't have to, and I'm on a daily basis drinking it. Also, the problem with soy milk, to me, it has a very bland taste unless it is sweetened, and that's again one of my points. I want to stay away from sweetened milk. Let me think. There is hemp milk. I've had it before. It seemed a little bit more expensive, and it just didn't do anything special for me. I like what's practical. I like what works, and this almond milk, it works. I can put it in my smoothies. My wife makes a vegan cream sauce where she uses cashews, almond milk, garlic, and then mixes it with red sauce. It's so good. So I mean, we constantly are using almond milk. So just know that if you're not cool with dairy milk, it's okay. You're not weird. There's a lot of people. That's why it's so easy to get almond milk now. You're okay. You're cool. Don't think you're weird for that. And it's getting to the point where people don't think I'm even that weird anymore now that I don't do dairy at all. And again, it's been 3.5 years. If it weren't for almond milk, sure, it'd be more difficult. But I just don't see what the problem is. I mean, another thing too, but I guess before I go too, I've had some people say that they've noticed a link to acne and dairy. And I never had acne really bad, but I always had a couple zits that weren't that bad, but I always had them. And of course, when I got rid of the dairy, that also got rid of it too. It only makes sense though that if you're consuming a mucus type liquid of a foreign species, that your body is going to think, why am I consuming the mucus of a foreign species? What I should do is use my own mucus of my body to expel that. So then here comes the mucus out of you to get rid of that extra mucus. Now, some people say that's not true, Nick. Well, for me it is. That's what I can tell you. I can tell you what's true in my own life. And for me, when I gave up dairy, I stopped producing too much mucus. I stopped getting sinus infections. I stopped even getting sinus pressure where I couldn't breathe out of certain sides of my nose. So, all I know is what's real for me. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. I am the manly vegan. There's no one else claiming to be the manly vegan because I am him. I'm manly. I am. I'm married. I got 2 kids. I'm an involved husband and father. And, I'm into stuff that guys are into as far as being just a normal, regular, masculine man. And I happen to be a vegan. And the reason I say that, most vegans are not male. I'm one of the exceptions. I make up about 0.5% of the American population. Thank you for watching this 10-minute video. Please ask me questions because I love talking about this, not for my own sake, but for your sake. I love helping people because I didn't get the help that I needed. The internet wasn't quite as out there when I was suffering back in the early 90s when this started. And we definitely didn't have YouTube back then. So I'm here to help you. Let me know what questions you have. You never know. I might make your a comment into its own video. Thanks for watching. I'm the manly vegan. you're cool for watching you just became cooler in my book for watching my video. Is that self-serving? Maybe.